Hi everyone. So today we're going to be talking about the history of Medusa, and it was inspired because I worked on a show in New Orleans this past winter, and it was about the history of Medusa and how she didn't start out in Greece. There's actually a long, thousands of years history of Medusa, so if you see these countries that are circled, there's my cursor. We've got India, has some history. This is Mesopotamia. Greece is over here. And then Libya. These are the countries and regions that we're going to be talking about with regards to the history of Medusa. So the first thing that I want to talk about is Libya. And I apologize that this is all on a computer screen, but anywho, so this is really the region right here where one of the myths of Medusa originated. At the time, it wasn't a myth. The difference between a myth and history is that it's assumed that history is true and that a myth is untrue, but essentially, it very well could be true. It was a really long time ago. But anywho, so the story goes that she was a queen in Libya, and that it was a matriarchal society, so it was run by women. And there's some evidence of Medusa here. You can see her. This is on an ancient temple in Libya. You can see the snakes coming out of her hair. So in Libya, she was regarded as an Amazonian queen and a goddess. The next place we're going to look at is Mesopotamia. Mesopotamia is Greek for between two rivers. And the two rivers are here. We got the Euphrates and the Tigris River going right through there. So this is the second region that we're going to be talking about with regards to the history of Medusa. She was a goddess called, pardon if I'm butchering this, but Ereshkigal. She was the goddess of the underworld. And she was also the goddess of birth, rebirth, creation, and destruction. And you're going to hear that again. But yeah, in Mesopotamia, she was a sacred being, and she was a part of their religion, their religious practices. So the common thread that we see between Libya and Mesopotamia is that Medusa has a very positive connotation to her. Even within being the goddess of the underworld, it's still regarded as divine and sacred. Which then brings us to India. And in India, this is the goddess Kali. You see, she's like super ferocious, right? You can see she has the garland of heads and there's blood everywhere. She's stepping on some guy, assuming she killed him. There's a lot going on in the background too. Now, Kali is really important because she's also the goddess of creation and destruction, very similar to Ereshkigal. But with Kali, she's also the destroyer of evil forces. She is the divine mother, and she is the divine protector for those, and she bestows liberation to those who seek to protect the truth. So you see her again. She's also considered like the dark goddess. She's always depicted having dark skin and long flowing hair. She's definitely a misunderstood being, right? So with India, you see a lot of similarities between the three so far, but with India's, you see a lot more of a scary connotation to it, right? A little scarier. So then, yeah, this is another one. Oh, and I want to clarify, this guy down here, this is Lord Shiva. So he's kind of the male counterpart to the goddess Kali. That's really important to note. So the next thing is we're going to be talking about Greece, which is right here. It's where I'm from, actually. I am from this little island right here. But anyway, so the Greek myth, I'm going to run through it as quickly as possible because it is pretty crazy. So Medusa, we've got her right here, how we know her to be with the snakes, and she's this like terrible being, right? This creature. So really the story is that Medusa started out, she was born of a gorgon, which is a snake monster, but she was a mortal woman. And she was a maiden in the temple of Athena. And one day, Poseidon, this is a terrible picture, but whatever, you get the point. He's basically a merman. Poseidon visits this temple of Athena and he sees Medusa there, and honestly, the story is that he rapes her. And it's pretty difficult content, but yeah. And what happens is Athena finds out about this and she curses Medusa and makes it so that Medusa, anytime someone looks at her, they turn into stone. Totally victim blaming. And I don't understand how this story lasted millennia, but it did. And it just shows you just how insidious patriarchy can be. So then what happens is Perseus comes in. He's this king and he gets this great idea that he wants to chop Medusa's head off so that he can use her head as a shield. And this is a ancient Greek shield right here. I'm pretty sure this is real. But basically, he gets into her cave and uses a mirror to avoid looking at her and turning into stone to chop her head off, as we see in this statue. And then he succeeds in allowing that her head be used as a shield. So in the modern era, this is the Versace brand pattern. You can see Medusa in the center. She has survived millennia, this story, going back from ancient Libya to Mesopotamia, ancient Greece, and there's been hundreds and hundreds of sources interpreting her and documenting her in all of her different forms. And over time, she had taken on a very monster-like creature, but as we've seen in recent times, that she's been reappropriated as not only a feminist icon, but also as like a fashion icon too. And then I want to close off with this modern statue of her, this modern depiction of her chopping off Perseus's head. You can see that. Really cool image. And I believe that's it. Yeah. So thanks guys for watching. And yeah.